Welcome back to Any Given Sunday. We're going to turn our attention now to the NBL, and there is a couple of new teams this year in the season. One of them is the South Dragons, and the captain joins us now, Shane Heal, who's actually come out of retirement to play again and be the captain.
About 3 times I've come out of retirement.
You're like a boxer. You're like a boxer who retired and come back and retire and come back. Are you back for good this time?
John Farnham.
Oh, yeah. Keep the flattery coming up. Jeez.
Oh, because I'm going to ask you about your back next, so...
Yeah, I know. It's a bit sad. I missed the first 2 games, so... But I'll be right for the next game.
Are you happy being out of retirement? Obviously, I mean, when I look at all the stuff that's been going on with the South Dragons, they seem like a very, very professional unit. Yeah,
it's really exciting to be part of it, and I retired when I was playing my best, but mentally I was just done. I didn't want to do it anymore, and I'd played 18 years professionally, and you know, a lot of travel overseas, and you just get worn down. Yep. But a couple of years off and a brand new team, and I'm refreshed and really looking forward to it.
Now, you missed the first tip-off the other night. You got a bit of a crook back. How's the body held up? Sometimes when you stay out of the game, you know, you come back and the body's not quite what it was. How are you finding it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had a few little injuries, and you see right
stiff there, mate.
Bit stiff in the back after the trip to New Zealand.
Did that happen in the pre-game warm-up, did it?
I was a bit stiff before we went, but we had a lot of delays, and it ended up being a 10-hour trip to New Zealand, and yeah, it just happened just as I was warming up. But had an injection on Thursday, and starting to feel a little bit better now.
Stay off the Voltaren.
Put your commentator's hat on. Joe Inglis. Great surname to have at the moment because everyone's talking about Greg Inglis, but everyone's talking about Joe Inglis as well, aren't they?
He's a dead-set freak. He's 18 years of age.
It's interesting because I say that about Greg Inglis as well.
Yeah,
Matty King sat here and said he's a freak.
Yeah, he is. You can't teach the things that he's got. And while he's 6'7", he can play guard, and he's long, and he's a great shooter. The first time I saw him play, I just noticed an amazing amount of poise that you can't teach somebody, and he's special, and he's a good kid. He plays hard and trains hard, so he's got a big future.
Enough about him, mate. We want to talk about you.
Yeah,
we know the kid's good. Now, he's a few years younger than me, and I was fortunate enough to have a share in a nightclub once down at Geelong. And this young punk used to come in who played with Geelong, and he used to cop free drinks, and the girls used to chase him around.
Was he all right with the drink card, or was he a bit
kept to himself? He was very well behaved, but geez, he was a punk. Here he is. There you go.
Shorts.
You've got to love the bogan locks.
The shorts.
I'm looking at 2 blokes who've pulled off 2 of the finest mullets of the history of Australian sport. That one in particular is a classy act.
Well, Dermott was my hero, you know, growing up. I wanted the locks and the earrings and the tight shorts and the whole lot, and you know, I got the attitude with it as well.
Both in Club 23. Anyone who's played the top level with 23?
The shorts were a lot shorter in those days, weren't they, Shane? What was the deal with that?
I don't know, I think it's just the times, you know. I mean, you look at the AFL now and people are wearing baggy shorts, it just doesn't seem right, you know. Same with us, down to your knees, and when you're only a little fella, you know, there's not a big difference between the length of your shorts and your socks.
He's 6 foot, man, but you are. It's one of those sports, basketball, at the elite level where if you're anything under about 6'4", you're a little fella, aren't you?
Oh, no doubt.
So how did you go against, I've asked you a couple of times in private, I mean, Charles Barkley's a big unit.
He's a big boy, but...
Here's the Olympics. Talk us through this.
You
What
guys
happened?
had a good shape-up.
Well, we went there and we said, let's have a crack at the Americans because they're the best. But all the other teams were getting autographs from them and photos and all this sort of stuff. And, you know, it was a cheap shot. I'd just taken a 3 and he took my legs out and I said a few things to him and he said, what did you say? And I repeated it. And I don't know whether he didn't understand the accent or he couldn't believe what I'd actually said to him. But it was a lot of fun.
Did you actually say to him, I'll kick your butt or anything like that?
It was along those sort of lines, but probably something
Can't repeat on TV.
You might want to tidy it up a tad for Sunday lunch.
Had you played in the NBA with him prior to that, or was it after that you went to the NBA?
Yeah, that was my opportunity then after that, and I ended up signing with Minnesota.
Well, that would have been good next time you played him.
He was great. He saw me in the hotel lobby and came up and said that we'd earn a lot of respect, you know, from all of those guys. And it was a great experience playing in the NBA. It's just a different world over there.
This game here, now we'll have a listen to the commentator. He goes off about you.
Back to Heal, another 3. Oh, Shane! Oh, Shane! Come back, Shane!
Here's another one.
Here's another one here.
He threw it down. Are you healed? Are you healed? Praise the Lord, I'm healed.
You must be rapt when you hear that. So wait, you would have got that hours after it went to air. You must have been stoked, and you must have thought, oh, I've made it.
Yeah, I mean, you do. And I called friends at home, and in that game, I had a great game and said, you know, now I've made it, now I'm going to get, you know, good court time. And then you deal with the frustrations, and I didn't get on for the next 5 games after that. And, you know, it's difficult. It's a mind game, and I think the Americans don't necessarily respect people coming from outside of their country, and it takes a bit longer.
When you talk about court time, sorry I'm hogging this, but I'm so interested in... You mentioned how English is a freak. In that sport there, in NBA, and you mentioned you couldn't get the court time after that great game, how many of those blokes on their roster would you actually really look at and say, freak, 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 freak?
I reckon there's probably only, you know, 3 or 4 players on every team that are that much better than the rest.
Okay.
I think after that you can compete with them.
Still having 4 freaks in one team is pretty good. You know,
But they're at a different level, the elite players there.
Andrew Bogut's made a really good first year go at it. You said that they don't really respect you. When you come from outside of Australia, it takes time to build that respect. Hasn't he done a good job in the first year?
Yeah, and I'm talking about 10 years ago as well. And now there's that many more international players that have made it. And Andrew went through the college system there. He's a #1 draft pick. Milwaukee need him to do well and take over that team. And he's a terrific player, and he's so hungry to succeed, Andrew Bogut. And he's got that mentality where he just wants to give it to the Yanks, which is one thing I love seeing in him, and has a crack at it.
He moves good for a bloke that size, doesn't he?
7 foot tall and just mobile.
7 foot, but he's got a bit around his core as well. Like he's not a Chris Anstey where he's really quite trim or small.
No,
he's actually quite a big unit.
And
how long till he gets tattoos?
It probably won't be long. I mean, you've got to have the tats if you're going to play over there. You've got to have the tough stickers.
We've been talking about men's basketball, boys basketball, but the women, they came home as world champions, the first Australian basketball team to do that. How fantastic is this?
It's amazing, isn't it? And, you know, I've got 3 daughters myself, and they just love watching the women's basketball and really look up to people like Lauren Jackson and Penny Taylor, and they're great for the sport, not only for basketball, but for all women's sport. I think it's fantastic.
Would have been nice to see them whip the Yanks in the gold medal game, though.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think that is let down, and I'm sure they feel that as well. As good as it is to win it, you always want to beat the best, and Russia beat the best, so they can't do any more than that, but great to keep, you know.
Without the pressure, how good are your daughters going to be at basketball? If they love it, they're going to follow you in?
Oh, yeah, they love it. They have a bit of a crack at it, but yeah, we'll see how they go, you know. It's just about enjoying the sport, I think, at that age, isn't it? And then you see how they go and how much passion they have to do the extra work to actually make elite level.
Have a look at that 2-shot there between those 2 guys and tell me if there's a bottle of peroxide still available in this town.
Actually, Dermy, I need a good head rest. I'm due.
Hey, just catch up with all your old mates. I know you're a good friend of Andrew Gaze. You still run into him from time to time?
I certainly do, and I didn't get to see him on Dancing with the Stars last week, but
Check this out.
I did turn up yesterday to the grand final football celebration, and because I hadn't seen it, I asked whether he could show it, and he pulled it straight out of the back pocket and put it on at his house. At about 40 people, we all watched it, and I tell you, he absolutely loves it, and he surprised me too because he's actually very good.
You can see him actually counting to 4 quite frequently though, and
but it was by far the most popular on the night. People
Very
went,
entertaining.
the guy is just a big buffhead, and he's just so likeable. You just go, what the hell?
The one thing about Drew is he doesn't take himself seriously.
No, he doesn't. No,
he doesn't. Have a look at the facial expression. we actually got him to do what he's going to do on Tuesday night for us in front of the 40 people.
What do you mean? So he's turned on the show.
He's turned on the show. He's critiquing other people. I'm saying, will you get out? Please vote for him because he's going to be the best entertainment. We're working on the facial expressions, and he's saying, you know, can you give me a sexy look? Telling everyone, how do I look sexy when I do this dance? He's just a classic.
He's exceptional, isn't he?
He is. He's an absolute cracking bloke. So what's South Dragons? You're onwards, upwards. When's your next game?
First home game on the 14th.
Yep.
So 2 weeks from yesterday.
Enough time to get you back right.
Yeah, I'll be ready to go then. But yeah, we'll be right. We'll get a good crowd to Vodafone Arena, and yeah, I think it's a great club, good owners, and this team is here for the long haul. And obviously, no new team comes in and dominates straight away. But we feel like we've got a squad that can improve.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for coming in, Shane. We do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And, good luck to you, and whatever you're going to be up to next.
Thanks for having me,
always
guys.
good. Cheers. We'll be back to beat this baby home after this.